fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. I'm Daphne, and I'm here today for this week's WIP and Chat. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. WIP, W-I-P, stands for Work in Progress, and this is mine. You are welcome and encouraged to go grab whatever you are working on and work alongside while I chat. Or alternatively, you can treat this as a podcast and just listen while I chat. Today, I'm going to be working on my Christmas Gnome Trio from Diamond Art Club for the Christmas in July event. I am absolutely loving this kit so far. I haven't made it very far. I've only been working on it a day or so, but I'm having a lot of fun. I think it's super cute. The drills are really fun, and it's going quickly. And it's a round, so I always enjoy rounds. I enjoy squares too, but I enjoy the rounds. The squares are a little bit more work, so the rounds are kind of like a little fun vacation from squares. So I've got my tray here, which I've just realized is upside down, so I need to fix that. I need to move things around a bit, zoom into where I'm going to be working so you guys can see everything, and then I will jump into the chat. So go grab yourself a drink, get your WIP, get situated, and I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Like I said, I'm having a lot of fun with this one, so I'm excited to make some more progress on this. All right, so my life update. Everyone is healthy and well, thank goodness. And my knee has still been doing a lot better. We've not been walking like we usually do, just because it's so stinking hot and humid. My poor hubby working outside every week. Like I told him that must be why he makes the big bucks, because I can't imagine. Yeah, like I told my son, I don't even want to go outside and walk. And we go in the morning before it's even really terrible. But I mean, you know, at 3 o'clock in the morning here, it's 80 some degrees. It's just like it doesn't ever get any cooler. So yeah, we've been walking indoors on the treadmill and doing things that way rather than going outside and walking outside, which I miss. I'm actually debating, you know, whether or not I want to go back to walking outside. I think we just need to get up earlier than we have been, and maybe it would work a little bit better. But yeah, just so hot and humid. It just has been no fun, and we've both just kind of went, yeah, we can wait. So hubby is back from the storm. He was only gone about a week, so that's nice. Although while he was gone, our ice maker went on the fritz. We have a refrigerator that has ice and water in the door, and for the past, probably 6 months or so, intermittently it will conk out. And what happens is, I guess it's refreezing and melting and refreezing, and then I get like this big chunk of ice that's stuck where the ice is supposed to fall out from, and then you have to go in and unblock the ice maker so it'll work again, which isn't a huge deal, but it's on the left hand side, which is near the cabinet, so you can't open the door to the refrigerator all the way because of how our kitchen is made. So it makes it hard to get the ice tray part out of the ice maker to unblock everything. It's just really awkward, and you got to reach almost into the back of the fridge to unblock it. And I finally told my husband, I'm using some of your store money and I'm buying my nugget ice maker that I've wanted forever. So we bought it. It finally arrived, and we made ice with it last night, and I love it. It's not quite exactly Sonic ice, but it is nugget ice. It's a lot smaller. It's just a little countertop version that sits on our countertop, and it's quiet. It's quieter than our air fryer, so it doesn't make a ton of noise, and we only had to run 2 cycles. It makes a bucket bucket, it's a small bucket because it sits on your countertop, but it made a bucket of ice in about 20 minutes. So we ran it twice, and now I have Sonic ice in my drink today. I don't know if you guys can see that. Or I have nugget ice that's like Sonic ice, I guess. And yeah, I love it. So happy about that. So we're going to turn off the ice maker in our refrigerator because it just keeps getting stuck and it's annoying. That's why we have the refrigerator that we have now. Our last refrigerator, which was a different brand, the ice, no, it wasn't the ice maker, it was the freezer. We have both of our refrigerators, the last one and this one, are with the freezers on the bottom. And the last one that we had, it was a frostless freezer. Our current one is too, but it was a frostless freezer. So it defrosts a bit and then freezes again to keep the ice from building up like you see in old refrigerators. And it developed a leak. Like it would defrost, but it would plug up the little drain where the water was supposed to go. And it was leaking all over the floor underneath the refrigerator. So that's why we got rid of that one and got this one. And now this one has developed this annoying thing. So I told my husband when we moved to Canada, I want like a old school refrigerator. No ice in the door, no water in the door, nothing fancy. I just want it to keep food cold. And while I like the freezer being on the bottom, I don't really care about that. I just don't want stuff that's going to break. And I don't need a smart refrigerator that I can tie to my phone that's going to tell me when I'm out of stuff and all of that. Like, I'm a grown-up, I can figure out when to buy my own groceries, thank you. I am very against buying appliances and stuff that have to be connected to the internet for things. Like, my computer and my phone are connected to the internet, that's enough for me. I don't need my refrigerator, my washer, my vacuum, any of that stuff. Like, it's too much. Yeah, got my nugget ice maker and I'm really happy with it. Oh, and I was talking to you guys about I didn't know what to do because I wasn't sure about what I wanted to do to start learning French. And I did some research, and after talking it over with my husband, what we decided to do was get the Rosetta Stone, because we would be able to, you guys, I'm dropping drills everywhere today. We would be able to get it, and if we paid for the lifetime access, then we would have access to all 25 languages. Now, you can get lifetime access from Babbel as well, but Babbel only has 13 languages. So we decided, yeah, we're just going to get the Rosetta one. Now, you can only do one language at a time, but you can flip back and forth between them. So like if you want to take, 10 lessons in Spanish, and then you want to decide you want to start learning Mandarin, or you are tired of that and you want to start working on Russian or whatever, you can do that. And I got it all set up so that we can access it. My husband went out and actually found a discount on it. So we got it for $100 off, lifetime access to in all of their languages. Now, it's only one person at a time. We can't have everybody on it all at the same time. But I put it on my phone, and I don't think there's a limit to the number of devices, but like it's all the same account. So like if my husband logged in on his phone, he would be in the middle of my French lessons. But, hopefully I can learn enough to at least understand some of the things people say and then go from there. Although, again, I'm only two lessons in, and I can say, basic things like the girl drinks, the woman drinks, the boy drinks, the man reads, that kind of stuff. But having said that, the last section, it actually went into plurals, the girls eat, etc. Yeah, I don't hear the difference between some of the words, even though they're spelled differently. Yeah, it's very interesting. I'm trying to just concentrate on the sound part of it and the pronunciation part of it rather than how things are spelled and worrying about that. But yeah, it certainly makes things very interesting. And I'm using glitter drills for my 666 drills here. I decided to substitute the glitter ones. So here in their little robes and everything, and then down here I'm substituting my glitter drills for all of the Christmas red, because I just thought that would be fun. And I have tons of AB drills, and I should use them, because why did I buy them if they were just gonna sit there and look pretty, right? Okay, what else? Bought Rosetta Stone, bought our ice maker. We use some of his store money to buy some things that we wanted / needed. So I got the ice maker, which was a want, got the Rosetta Stone, which was a want. But then I also, my son, he graduated in 2020. So it was a bit of a cluster at the end of the year because of COVID and all of that. I've been after him for a while. He doesn't like to go shopping. And I've been after him for a while when he was in school, he was very active in sports. So every time there was a new season of sports, we bought new shoes. So, he played football, he needed cleats for football. He played basketball, he needed basketball shoes. He was powerlifting, he needed, a new pair of tennis shoes for that. He ran track, so he needed track spikes. And then he got into throwing, and he needed disc shoes because he was throwing the discus. And then he got into throwing javelin, and he wanted javelin shoes because they're all different. You can't use track spikes for javelin. Javelin spikes don't work for track. You need certain, different shoes for discus. And it just seemed like it was never ending, constantly buying shoes. And then, he graduated and he was in online school. And I don't think I've bought the child a pair of shoes since. And he has these really old, trashy Nikes that he's been wearing forever. And then at some point when he was in school, Allbirds came out. The wool shoes. I don't know if you guys have seen those, but he really liked them. And so I bought him a pair of those. And, just over the course of several years, they've gotten very trashy, especially his athletic shoes. Over the last few weeks, his friends have been out on, they're all out of college on summer break. And so he likes to play disc golf. And so he's been going with his friends to play disc golf. And he's wearing these old, nasty, beat up Nikes. And he came to me the other day and said, Mom, these are falling apart. The insoles were coming out. And so something, some of the hard plastic on the bottom was poking his foot. And I said, well, that's because we need to buy you some new shoes. So show me what shoes you want and we'll, or we'll go to the mall or whatever and we'll pick up some new shoes. Well, he didn't want to go anywhere, which he never does. And I was like, fine, just get online and find some shoes. And my husband and I had decided that we were going to get some new shoes as well. I have some walking shoes that I used for walking with my son, but they're also like what I would do is I would wear them as everyday work shoes. And then when they got kind of worn out, I'd wear them as my walking shoes, but they're really worn out now. The arch support is almost gone. And I wanted to get a new pair. So I said, well, I'm going to go to Academy in the big town close to us and get me some shoes. So tell me what you want and I'll look and see if they have them there. And my son and I suffered the same issue, but different parts of the spectrum. Like I'm very short and I have small feet, right? And he is almost 6 feet tall and he has very large feet. So when we went to Academy, I could find shoes for neither of us because my feet were too small. They didn't have hardly anything. And the very few shoes they did have that would fit me were always the display pair. Nobody was around, couldn't find anybody to help me, and I could only try on one shoe because the other one was, cabled into their display, and so you couldn't try both of them on. I couldn't find anybody to help me get it off of there. So I was frustrated over that. And then my son wears a very large size. First of all, not only is it clear at the top, so it's impossible for me to reach because I'm not tall enough to reach the top shelf. They didn't have any in his size either. Like at the shoes, he picked out 2 different pairs of shoes and both that he wanted, neither did they have in his size. And so I told my husband, this is why I don't go shopping in stores because we just never can find what we need. And so I'm like, well, guess I'm going to go back to shopping online. I ended up getting my shoes on Amazon. Same thing. I went to Target because I broke my favorite pair of sandals. When I'm home during the day, a lot of times I'll just slip on sandals rather than putting on tennis shoes. And I wore out my favorite pair, my only pair. I don't have a lot of shoes. So I was like, I need to get a new pair of sandals. Well, I'm going to go to Target because that's where I got them the first time. Target had nothing unless you are a small child in the way of sandals. Everything was, well, I shouldn't say that. They had a ton of sandals. What I wanted was basically just flip-flops, but flip-flops with traction on the bottom of them. You know, not just regular cheapo 99-cent beach flip-flops. I wanted some that had a little bit of arch support and had traction on the bottom. And the ones that I had, I had gotten at Target. Nope, they didn't have any like that. So yeah, ended up buying all of my shoes from Amazon. And then I actually went out and looked. I was going to buy my son some shoes. He wanted another pair of Allbirds, so I ordered those. They're on the way already, so hopefully those will be here soon. His other ones, they're like a light gray, but he wore them during school, and he was taking wood shop and carpentry, and he got wood stain all over it. Well, let me tell you, wood stain does not come out of wool. And it was a very light, like gray, and a very dark brown stain, so it's just very noticeable. And I mean, Allbirds are washable, but even at that, we couldn't get it out. So anyway, bought him those, and then for the Nikes, I actually went out because I could order them on Academy's website. They just didn't have them at the store in the town where we live. But then I actually found them cheaper at Kohl's. Kohl's was selling them for 20% off, so I bought them from Kohl's. So hopefully those will get here pretty quickly. Because I have started doing some searching and, you know, looking at things beyond just, our usual default is just to go to Amazon. But so many places offer free shipping anymore. Again, I recognize that it's not actually free shipping. They have just increased the price of the goods to make up for what they're going to have to pay in shipping, but they sell it as free shipping anyway. Rather than just going straight to Amazon and assuming that Amazon has the best prices, because that's not always true. I actually found them at Kohl's, so I feel good about that. I love this little patchwork heart up here. You guys probably can't see it, but the little patchwork heart is so cute. Oh, I ordered myself a new water bottle. I have a water bottle that has, you know, the time markings on it. So it's like, you know, by 9 o'clock, drink this much water, by noon, all the way down to the end of the day. My son has confiscated it. Every time I see him, it's in his hand. So I was like, I'm going to order me another one. And at the time when I ordered that one, I just got, it was very plain. You know, this one I got, it's in like watercolor colors. It's like blue and pink ombre watercolor type. So that's supposed to be on the way. I think we have a bagworm infestation in our tree. I told my husband when he was out storming, I mean, we've noticed a couple of bagworms hanging from the trees, but didn't really think much of it. I should have, because I was thinking at the time, it's a deciduous tree, and I remember thinking at the time, oh, I remember my grandma telling me how bad they got on pine trees, evergreen trees, when I was younger. But I just thought, oh, you know, I just don't pay that much attention, truthfully. And then I was outside because I was looking at the construction that they're doing near our street, and I told my husband, oh man, the branches, a couple of branches on this tree in our front yard look like they're almost dead. And then we got out and got to looking at it when he got home from the storm, and it's not that they're dead, it's that the bagworms have eaten the leaves down to the little bitty stems. So it just looks like, you know how like when you have a leaf and it has all these little kind of limbs going out from it? All the little limbs are there, but the tree, the green part of the leaf is gone. So it makes the limb look dead because it's all brown. So I'm like, oh no, what do we do? Because it's a really big tree and I don't want to lose it. So my husband stopped in at our local city hall to talk to the maintenance people and see, you know, what's going on. And everybody was like, oh yeah, they're really bad this year. And we were like, well, what do we do, you know, to spray for them or whatever? And the local Parks and Rec guy was like, well, you can spray it yourself if you want to. But he's like, honestly, it's just as easy to call an exterminator and have the exterminator come out and do it. And I was like, oh, it never even occurred to me to call an exterminator, because I don't know why not. I mean, they're insects, but I don't know, for me, an exterminator, that's for inside my house, not outside, which is dumb because they come in from outside. So of course, but anyway, so we need to do that because I already told my husband, like, I'm afraid we're going to lose that tree and it's probably over 100 years old. It's huge. And I don't want it to die. I mean, it's not near our house. It's out near the street, so it's not like it provides shade for the house or anything, but it's a really big old tree, and I would just hate to lose it. I have a love-hate relationship with our trees. We have one in the backyard that has those little helicopter things that fall off of it, and they fall onto our deck, which means they get stuck in between the boards, which means they make the boards swell and do weird things, and so that's annoying. And we have a couple of oak trees, which I love because that means we have a lot of like squirrels and stuff and birds and things to watch, you know, out in our front yard and our backyard. But I hate that they drop all of their little helicopter things, and we have cottonwoods and it drops all the cotton and everything in our yard. So yeah, I just have a love-hate relationship with them. Also, for bagworms, we were looking up online what to do, and they said, you know, nature's way to combat them is birds. So you can put a bird bath like near your tree to encourage birds to be, you know, there at the tree, and they'll eat the bagworms. But everything I've read said that you really have to get rid of the bagworms in early April and May before they hatch, because once they hatch, it's really difficult to get rid of them. So of course, you know, we didn't even really notice them until after it's too late. So I don't know if we're going to be able to save our tree or not, but I'm going to call the exterminator and hopefully they'll have something that can take care of it. We don't have any pets, so I don't have to worry about anything being toxic to our pets. And it's a tree in the front yard, so, you know, we wouldn't have our dogs out there if we had them anyway. But because some of the stuff that we were reading online said, you know, it can be toxic to pets briefly while you wait for it to dry. Some of them are like, yeah, it can affect your bees. And I'm like, the bees have enough problems. I don't want to make more problems for the poor bees. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the exterminator would use either, but I really don't want to lose that tree. So yeah, I guess we're going to call the exterminator and see if he can help us. I told my husband, I think, you know, hopefully we could cut off the 2 branches that are affected, because they're not big branches, they're smaller ones. So we could cut them without it really affecting the tree itself too much. But yeah, bummed. And I don't want them to spread to our other trees, because there's another big tree right next to it, and it's probably just as big and old, and I don't want to lose it either. Insects are gross, y'all. Ugh. All right, what else did I want to tell you about my life update? Oh, you guys, this is sort of a life update. It's diamond painting related, but I'm not going to share why it's diamond painting related until later. Because I've got a project planned, and I was doing a project, a diamond painting related project, and I needed my printer. And I needed my printer. I was also doing this. My husband wanted me to print some stickers, decals. He makes the decals and stuff. I guess when you're a lineman, when you work hurricanes and storms, they make like stickers that they can put on their hard hat. So, you know, kind of a, hey, I was there kind of thing. So like he made some for Hurricane Ian, which was the last really big storm they worked. So he had some stickers he wanted me to cut out, because he makes them for the guys at work too. He makes window decals and that kind of stuff. But he wanted me to print them on, we have glossy photo sticker paper. And I tried printing some stickers with it a while ago. I have an inkjet printer, and I wanted it to print from the main tray, because where my printer was sitting, there is a rear tray, but you couldn't get to it because of where the printer was sitting. It was up too high and too close to the back, which is where the rear tray is, and so you couldn't get in there. So we were printing it just the regular way and forcing it to print through the main tray. And it wasn't working. It wasn't using the photo black ink, and so the black ink would just smear off. And we were getting really frustrated and trying to figure it out. And then I was trying to do this other project, and it kept wanting to print from the rear tray. And so I went out and was doing some Googling, because I have a Mac, and sometimes Apple stuff does not play nice with printers and keyboards and mice and, you know, peripherals. So I went out and I looked, and all kinds of people having the same kind of problem, and finally figured out that I think part of it is, one, it's a new printer, so newer-ish. I mean, we bought it last year, and part of it that it's an inkjet. And because of those two things, in order to keep the quality consistent with photo printing, the hardware of and the software of the printers make you print from the rear tray, because it has something to do, especially in the inkjets, with the distance of the ink from the nozzles, and just for whatever reason. And there's no real way to overwrite it. It's kind of baked into the printer. So I could make it get it to print from the rear or from the main tray, but not at photo quality. And so like when I was printing the stuff on the glossy paper for my husband, what was happening was, like I said, the black ink would smear. The rest of the ink would be fine, but the black ink would smear. And even after we let it dry, because some glossy papers, it's like, well, you need to let them dry for 24 hours or whatever. Even at that, it would still smear. It was like it would never dry. It would never adhere to the photo paper. So after much cursing and grumbling, and finally figuring out that no matter what I did, I wasn't going to be able to make the printer do what I wanted, then I said to my husband, okay, here's the issue. I guess we need to move the printer so that I can have access to this rear tray, because I need to be able to print from it. And the other thing with my printer is, if the rear tray there's a piece of it on the inside that has to be flipped the right way, up or down. If it's not, it will not print from the main tray. So it won't print from anywhere. I'm like about ready to just throw this printer out. And so I told my husband, we need to move it so that it's not against the wall, so that I can have access to the rear tray, and I need it to be lower because I'm short, so I can see what I'm doing when I'm loading the different papers in and everything. Finally got it to work. Now, I still get an error message because I can tell it to print from the rear tray. But if I just let the printer pick, which is what it prefers you to do and how they recommend you do it. So I just go in and tell it, pick your tray, but print photo. It should pick the rear tray, and it does. But I get an error message every time that's like, are you sure you want to print from the rear tray? Yes, I'm sure. So annoying. But I finally got it to work, and the project that I was working on actually worked. So super excited. Frustrating, but gosh, I've had a lot of frustrating projects lately, haven't I? But I finally figured it out. I stubborned through it, and I figured it out. And then, you guys, the very last thing, my husband went and we made our first trip to the Goodwill store to donate 3 boxes of stuff that will not be coming with us to Canada. So I am so super happy. That's 3 boxes of things that are no longer in my house that hopefully somebody else will be able to use. Yeah, it's just such random stuff. Like there was a piece of Christmas decorations in there. There were some picture frames, some clothing items, some games, I think a puzzle, just, random stuff. But now it's gone. It's not in my house. Hopefully somebody else will get use of it, and I don't have to worry about it being here. We have set up my daughter's room. Now that we got done painting it, we set it up as a kind of a holding room. So one side of the room has diamond painting stuff. All my big canvases and storage are down there, my big portfolios. And then we have one piece of furniture so far that we've decided we're taking, which is like a sofa console table. And it is in there, and I have been piling stuff on it for things that we're going to take. I have been storing all of my miniatures for my D&D games that we use. We've had 2 bookshelves in our living room downstairs, which is where we kept all that kind of stuff. And I've packaged up a bunch of the books and boxed those up that I want to keep. And I'm going to keep all the miniatures, obviously, but I need to put them in boxes because they were all just kind of sitting out so that we could see them and we could pull them whenever we needed them. But we haven't played in person in so long. That's something I'm hoping to get back into once we move, find some people, local people who want to play so we can play in person again. I don't mind playing online. I like playing online. There's a lot of things that are easier online. You know, it's easier to make a token look the way you want online than it is for me to, you know, get a miniature, get it 3D printed, paint it and all of that. But some of the fun is in the painting and things. I still have a bunch of miniatures that I need to paint. I want to get them all primed and then, like I said, get them all painted so I can slowly get rid of all of my paint crafting supplies, because honestly, I'm just getting to the point where even though I enjoy it, my hands and my eyesight are just not good enough. I have like one of those things that fits over your head, like a jeweler's loop almost, that, you know, magnifying glasses so that I can see when I'm painting the miniatures. But my hands are just not as steady as I would like. And so once I get this batch done, I think that'll probably be it. And these days you can buy pre-painted ones. There's even some services that you can get, you know, they 3D resin print them and then they have in-house painters who will paint them for you as well. It's a little bit more expensive, but it probably isn't any more expensive than if I added up all the stuff I've bought over the years for my own painting supplies. So, because paint is never cheap, even if it's miniature paint. So, working my way through getting stuff gone and getting stuff packed up. We probably have a good 3 boxes, another 3 boxes worth of stuff that could get donated, as well as I definitely have multiple boxes of stuff that could get packed up. But I decided I would start there with the gaming stuff because we're not really using it. So I can get it put away, and if it sits for a while and we don't have access to it, it's cool. We're not using it anyway, so it's all good. Okay, so I need to change colors, and then I am ready to move on to my diamond painting update. It is kind of fun to do all the outlining and then fill it in, especially with these round kits. And I was actually really pleasantly surprised when I unboxed this one. You know, I knew that it was all going to be outlined in it's actually the glow in the dark black, and I knew it was going to be outlined, but I honestly thought there would be more black than there was, so I was pleasantly surprised. For only 2 bags of black, which that's nothing compared to some of the kits that I've done that had way more black than that. Or dark brown, or whatever color happened to be the outline color. So I'm working on this one because I finished my Heaven and Earth design. I got a lot of feedback on my Heaven and Earth project, which is good. I love, you know, hearing what you guys have to say. I will say, I think a lot of people took it to mean that I'm never going to do a Heaven and Earth again because of how disappointed I was in that one. And I didn't, if that's what came across, that wasn't my intention at all. I certainly was disappointed in how the finish of it turned out. However, it's not the most disappointing kit that I've ever done. And I learned a lot. You know, that's what I wanted to emphasize. I learned a lot of, okay, these are things that I should have paid attention to. And again, a lot of times that for me is, I don't pay enough attention when I jump into a project. Someone pointed out that, you know, Heaven and Earth says on their website, under their FAQs, that they only have the ability to print their symbols in black. And so because of that, if you get their printed canvases, the symbols can be hard to read, the darker symbols, because it's black ink on a dark color. And I get that. So I think in the future, if I order something from them, and I'm not going to say that I won't, because I very well could, I don't have any plans to until I finish my other 2 canvases that I already own from them. However, if I was going to order from them again, and my husband and I were talking about this, if I was going to order from them again, I would either do just a completely blank canvas and use a chart with like either a printed out PDF or pattern keeper or, you know, something like that. Or I would get the black and white printed where it's just a white canvas with the black symbols printed on it. So it would look like a mystery kit, essentially. I got the one printed in color because I thought that would be helpful. If I read about this dark symbols being difficult, I don't remember that. But I do remember thinking I'm going to get the printed one because for me, that's helpful visually for me to see, you know, what areas I'm working on and stuff. Having done that now, like I said, I would do it differently. Yeah, I don't think anybody was trying to be, you know, deceptive about anything. And someone else made a comment about, I think for me personally, it also ended up just being one of those kits that was kind of a Murphy's Law kit. I mean, plenty of other people have done heaven and earth designs and not had trouble with the stickiness of the glue. So I don't know why I did in particular. I don't know if it has something to do with how I was storing the canvas. You know, I bought the canvases a long time ago. I don't know if the year or so that it sat in storage has something to do with it. Maybe it was the temperature in my house. Who knows? There's so many factors that it's hard to tell. And you know, same with the drills. I have done lots of kits from lots of different places, and sometimes you get really good drills and sometimes you don't. Someone, and I don't remember who, I apologize, someone said, you know, she had done 5 different canvases from the same place, and she had differing problems with all of them, whether it was the glue or the drills or, you know, the rendering, whatever it was. She just had issues with each of them until she got to the very last one. And the last one was an absolute dream. Great rendering, great drills, no problems with anything else on the canvas. It turned out amazing, super happy with it, and they were all from the same place. So I think sometimes it's just a matter of luck of the draw, you know? I mean, I've certainly had Diamond Art Club kits where the drills were kind of trashy. I think squares tend to be trashier than rounds just across the board for whatever reason. You know, you just have those tabs on square drills that can lead to the popping drills a lot more often than you ever get them on round drills. I don't know if that has anything to do with the way that they're manufactured or what, since the way they're manufactured seems to be like some kind of Chinese state secret. Like I've gone out and searched for videos to see how diamond painting kits are made. And there's plenty of videos out there that you can find about how the canvases are printed. You know, it's basically just a giant industrial size printer that, you know, ink prints the design on, and then it goes to another place where they kind of, it's almost like silk screening the glue on, the same sort of process for the poured glue, or, you know, layering on the double-sided tape. You can find all kinds of videos about that kind of stuff. All the videos that I've ever seen about drills is how the drills are packaged. I've never actually seen a video on how the drills are made. And since everything is pretty much made in China, like has that changed? I know when I first got into diamond painting, you know, China had like, I don't know if it was a patent or whatever, but I'm unaware of anyone that manufactures drills in the US. I know a lot of places, you know, they get manufactured in China and then shipped to the US, and then from the US they'll get shipped out to various places or whatever. But correct me if I'm wrong, is there anyone who actually manufactures everything, drills included, from start to finish in the US? Because I thought they couldn't, because I thought, that's what I remember hearing anyway. I mean, don't quote me. I could be wrong, but that's what I remember hearing. Okay, anyway, got off on a tangent there. So lots of frustration with that. But, I told my husband I think that was a Murphy's Law kit for me. And again, an example of me jumping in with both feet before honestly, I saw the image and thought, ooh, that's a really cool image. I like Greek stuff. It's Pegasus and the Muses. I'm going to get that one. And I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to what is the rendering of it going to look like, all that kind of stuff, which is why I wanted to share it with you guys so that you could learn from my mistakes. If you're the kind of person that jumps in with both feet, so am I. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. So I finished the Heaven and Earth, and I was able to move on to these, for which I'm extremely grateful. Now, my Heaven and Earth, that is definitely going to go on my artist series because I've not done anything. What was the artist name? Scott Gustafson, I think. I'm pretty sure I don't have him on my list for anything else. And I hadn't included that kit on anything in my artist series because I didn't think I would finish it, but I did. So that one is done, and that one counts. Now I can move on to kits like this that are also on my artist series, but will go much quicker. Like I said, this one I'm excited about because I already know where it's going. So it's not just going to be languishing in my portfolio once I get it done. And I actually, for this one, I'm going to get a frame that has a mat, which I don't normally do. I normally just get frames that fit the size of the painting. So the painting goes from edge to edge, but this is going to be a Christmas present and I want to make it a little bit fancier. So I'm getting getting a frame that has a mat. And I actually think that will help it look even better, because then that mat will just be that little bit more separation between the front acrylic and the drills. So I think it'll just make it look that much better. I could go get some of these framed professionally, but honestly, for me, most of the joy is in the doing, not the framing. And so unless it's something, you know, pretty special that I'm going to hang up in my own home, it's not worth the expense to me to frame it. I've considered going to like Michael's or Hobby Lobby or, you know, someplace, a craft store, and especially when they're having their sales, and getting it framed, because that's the only time that framing is worth it, in my opinion. It's so expensive to have them frame it otherwise. I mean, you want your pieces to be framed well, don't get me wrong, but often it's just as it's a lot cheaper to get it done online, like ordering from Frame USA or Frame It Easy. You can customize it and kind of get what you want. And yeah, you have to put it together yourself, which I know some people don't want to do, but they make the process as easy as they can. And I mean, it's pretty foolproof to frame things yourself if you're buying from someplace like Frame It Easy. Like when I did those other diamond paintings, like my Muka, I think the Muka that I framed turned out amazing. I love it, even though, you know, I just ordered the frame online and did it myself. I think it turned out just as well as it would have had I gotten, you know, somebody at Michael's or whatever to do it. So moving on to new stuff and doing all of that. Now, having so much fun working on this Diamond Art Club. Speaking of Diamond Art Club, did anybody buy any new releases this week? I was super tempted because my nephew loves Spider-Man more than he loves SpongeBob. And the Spider-Man one was so cute. And I have an ongoing thing with him where I constantly tell him that I don't like Spider-Man, because he just, what do you mean you don't like Spider-Man? And he gets frustrated with me. But it's like, it's become our little kind of running joke. So I thought, oh, this would be so funny. You know, this is cute and I could make it for him and earn myself some cool ant points because I made Spider-Man even though I don't like Spider-Man. But I resisted. It's a lot of red and black. Plus I already made him the SpongeBob one and I made him a Marvel one. I figured he's probably covered for now. The rest of the other wall in his bedroom is covered with his Funko Pop collection, so I figured I'd skip it. Yeah, so I was good this week. You guys, I was trying to figure out if there was anything new out there. I try to every once in a while go out and look and be like, okay, what new things are going on? Do I need to try anything? I saw Diamond Art Club is now selling multi-placer tips. Like, I didn't buy any of their single placer tips because the version that they sell I have gotten from other places, and I just don't like the way they're constructed. They're like too long for me, and I just don't like them. However, I saw their new, what is it, a 6-placer? And, you know, I wondered, because in my opinion, how well multi-placers works depends on what they are and how they were made. Like, this is a 10-placer tip from Everlasting Tips, and it works okay with rounds. It works way better with squares. I have a set of tips from the We Have a Handle on This people that I think work really super well with squares, not so well with rounds. And the little plastic ones, I think work better with rounds than they do with squares. Plus, I think it depends, you know, you guys have all heard me talk about, I like the multi-placers that have the thin walls versus the thicker ones, because especially the metal tips, the thicker walls, I feel like the drills don't get seated well and I constantly drop them as I move across the canvas, so I don't like them for that reason. You know, some of that, again, is just personal preference kind of thing, but yeah, I'm curious. Has anybody used the new tips? Do they like them? Do they work? Yeah, just curious. If you've tried them out, let me know. And then also I have seen people talking about make market diamond paintings at Michael's. And admittedly, it's been a while since I've been inside of Michael's. However, is this like a new brand? Is this another offshoot brand of like Diamond Dots? Is this a completely new brand that Michael's has come out with? The ones that I saw, I went online and looked at them to see if there was one that I wanted to get. The ones I saw online were all rather small, and I think almost all of them were rounds. Yeah, curious about that. Has anybody tried them? What do you think of them? What of the quality? Anything else new that you guys have seen that I should try? Let me know in the comments below. I'm always looking for something new to try out. I do have a couple of new tools. I'm still waiting on one of them to arrive. It hasn't shipped yet, that I'll be unboxing that I want to try out. So yeah, if you guys know of anything new that I should or you'd like me to try, let me know in the comments. I've also been looking to see if there's any new diamond painting companies. You guys, somebody told me, I think it was Crystal, that Uniquely Yours Down Under, who was out of Australia and who I had always meant to try and just never got around to, is now closed. There's no, you get like a 404 error when you go to their website now. And then, is DIY Moon Shop closed or are they just revamping? Because I thought someone said somewhere that they were revamping their website, and I went to check it. And the first time I went to check it, it was like this weird sort of under construction, even though it's not what it said message. But underneath it, it was like, is this your Shopify store? Claim this store. And I thought, well, that's weird, because I would presume they would still keep the domain name if they're just revamping. Then a couple days later, when someone told me they were closed, I went out and checked it, and it had a like, "We'll be back soon" message on it. But again, it had the little, "Is this your store? Claim this store here" thing. And I thought, well, that's odd. And then it made me think of it again, because I have a kit from them that I haven't done yet. I bought 2 kits from DIY Moon, and I finished one of them, but the other one is a Medusa the Doll Maker kit, and it's on my artist series list to get to. I love her stuff. She does a lot of kind of Art Nouveau type art, and I have one called Gamer Girl. And what made me think of it was I got an email from Jaded Gem Shop that she now has licenses with Medusa the Doll Maker, and that image that I had, the Gamer Girl one, was one that was in the email. And I thought, oh, well, so does that mean DIY Moon is closed if she's no longer licensed with them? Because I thought, well, I don't know. I guess I thought it was an exclusive license, although it doesn't have to be. So I guess she could still be licensed with both. But I just thought it was odd. So when I got that thing from Jada Gem Shop, I went back to check DIY Moon's website, and it had a different "We'll be back soon" message, but it still was like a blank Shopify store. So yeah, what's going on? Are they closed? And then, speaking of closing, I went back because I was trying to remember who Heaven and Earth Design recommended for drills, because I still have those other 2 canvases, and I was going to do the mermaid from my spares, but I don't think I would have enough spares to do my little flapper girl. And so my intention had always been to try a different drill place, because, you know, that way I can try out as many different companies as I can and give you guys my thoughts. And so I was like, well, I think I had on my list Cooper Diamonds was one that I was going to try. And when I went back and looked on their recommended, Cooper Diamonds is no longer there. Their website is there, but when you go to their website, there are no products listed in their store. I don't know if they're just like they keep paying for the domain name in case they decide to open up again, but so they're gone. So then I was like, well, let me go check and see who Heaven and Earth is now recommending. So they're now recommending Diamond Drills USA, and I've bought from Diamond Drills USA before. I've bought ABs from them, I believe. A place called diamondpaintingdrills.com, which I've never tried. So if any of you have tried them, let me know in the comments below what you think of them. And then a place called Francesca's Studio Works for drills, which I also had never heard of and have never tried. And I guess I didn't check out that website, but I guess they sell kits in addition to drills. So if you guys have tried that one out, let me know. And I think it said all 3 of those are in the US. So if you're outside the US, that's probably not a good place to buy from. I remember when Lizette was doing one of her Heaven and Earths, and because she's in France, she was like, yeah, the shipping. So she ended up buying hers from, oh gosh, Smith's Drills or something like that, because they were in the UK. So it was a lot easier and cheaper for shipping and that kind of thing. Yeah, it's kind of difficult to tell people, you know, well, that's like why I try to try out as many different places as I can, because even though I'm in the US, you know, you can get stuff shipped from everywhere. It just may cost a little bit extra. Also, I'm nosy. I just want to try everything and see what works the best. So if you have anything new that you know about that I should try, or that you've heard about but haven't tried yet, let me know in the comments below. I'm always up for a new project, and I have plenty of budget left so far because I didn't really spend a whole lot this month either. I didn't buy any of the new releases. I have my eye on a kit at Oraloa, and it's an artist that I've never done anything before, but I just really love the art on it. I love the color scheme of it, the color palette of it. They're having a sale. It ends tonight at midnight. Buy one, get one 50% off, and I'm super tempted, but I haven't come across another one that I really, really want. I've looked at a bunch of them, and I mostly looked at artists that I thought I would like, but then I'm like, well, I've already got some by this artist. Maybe I should get some different ones, and I just haven't gone back and looked at, okay, you know, what else is out there that I might want to get from somebody I've never done before. Got to keep broadening my horizons. So maybe I'll have bought a couple of kits by the end of this weekend. Probably not, but we'll see. It's just super tempting. But they'll have new releases coming out on Monday, so I kind of want to wait and see if there's anything new. But then the sale will end. Hard to decide. But I didn't get anything from Diamond Art Club or Dreamer Designs this week. I'm still trying to work my way through some of my stash. I would like to get it down. Realistically, I'd like to get my stash down to around 30-ish before I buy anything else. That's probably not going to happen, but that's what I'm working towards anyway. And then we'll see. Maybe once I get it down like that, then I won't worry about. You know, I did think, honestly, at some point, I was like, oh, I'm buying all these canvases, and then by the time I get around to them, because I know a lot of YouTubers, they'll get the kits and then they open them immediately so they can do the unboxing while it's fresh in everybody's mind. And I get that, and I'm cool with that, you know. But for me personally, I don't unbox anything really until I'm ready to work on it. And so I'm pulling out these kits that are no longer available. But I will say, I really enjoy it when someone pulls out something that's old that you can't get anymore, and it's like, oh, I've never seen that one. That's a really cool diamond painting. And I mean, just because it's cool, not because it's like, oh man, I wish I would have got that one. Sometimes it's that. But is there anything else that I needed to talk about? Nope, I think that's it. Just having a lot of fun working on this, working on the rounds, which I am super enjoying. It's been relaxing. My Heaven and Earth design was not that relaxing, and that's completely on me. Well, not completely. I mean, there were frustrations with the kit, but frustrations that were made worse by the fact that I was trying to rush through it so I could get it done. However, I'm still patting myself on the back that it's done, because it's done. All right, let me zoom out here so you guys can see what I've done. So I just finished his other little shoe. I'm working on this ornament. I love this little patchwork heart here. Is so adorable. I love how it looks. So working on the first little gnome, and yeah, just really loving it. So excited. I have several ABs that I'm adding in. You can see I'm adding in this yellow AB that I've kind of sprinkled around in here. I'm changing out the 666 regular drills for the glitter drills, and then I've got a gray AB that I'll be adding in when I get to, I think it's not in their beards, it's some of the shadows on like their hats and things. Once I get into that, I'm going to throw in some sparkles in the shadows as well. And I can't wait working my way up so I can get to the first little cardinal up there, because I think it's so cute. There's my diamond painting whip and chat for this week, guys. Lots of stuff going on. I hope you guys made some progress on whatever you're working on, or if you were just listening, I hope I was entertaining. Thanks so much for sticking around till the end of the video, guys. Before you leave, don't forget to do all the things. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be informed of future uploads. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching.